Hi, welcome to Coding Bootcamp's YouTube channel. Subscribe now and join our live stream session later. See you.
Hey guys, welcome to the homework portion of Introduction to Linux OS course. On our homework today we have 10 tasks for you. What I really want you to do, guys, is I want you to go through these tasks, read them yourself, and I want you to pause the video and try and do as much as you can without my help. Once you've gone as far as you can, I want you to unpause the video and we're going to go through it together very slowly. I'm going to try and explain as in much detail as I can what we're doing on these tasks. Okay. Real quick, I'll explain what we are doing on our homework. So first one, we're just creating 3 folders called test 1, 2, and 3. On the second one, we're going to create a text file named test.txt, and you're going to put some text in it and place it in test 1 folder. Then we're going to copy that test.txt file to test 2 folder. And we're also going to copy the test.txt to test 3, and we're going to name it new.txt. And then in test.txt, in test folder 2, we're going to put the words I am happy today. So you're adding that text to test.txt in test folder 2. Then we're going to copy folder test 3 as test.folder, so we're renaming it, and we're going to put it in our home directory. Then we're going to rename new.txt on the test.doc folder to appletree2. So we're renaming the new.txt in test.doc folder to appletree2.txt. Then we're going to add some text into appletree2.txt, any text you like. Then we're going to list all the files in test 1 and test 3, and then we're going to locate file test.txt in all the 4 folders we created. So go ahead and pause the video, guys. Get as far as you can. Once you get stuck, go ahead and unpause the video, and we're going to go through it together. Okay, hopefully you spent some time doing this to the best of your ability and didn't give up too fast before coming to the master here, your instructor. So let's go ahead and go this together. Let's start with the first one. Let's go to our virtual box. So we're going to be adding folders. Okay, these are folders, not files. These are folders that contain files. So we need to make our directory. So mkdir. Okay, remember, make directory is how we make folders and directories. And then this supports multiple directories at one time. So we're going to do test 1, test 2, and test 3. Okay, we'll do an ls. And you'll see test 1, test 2, and test 3 are in those directory. Okay, so task 2 in our homework. Create a .txt file named test.txt with some text in it and place it in test 1 folder. So we go back to our virtual box here. So what we're going to do here, we're going to cd to test 1 because that's where we want the file. And we're going to echo. Remember, echo displays the input to the output of the screen. So we're going to do echo quotation mark hello world quotation mark, and we're going to redirect that output to test.txt. Okay. And then we'll see here we have a file called test.txt, and since this file wasn't originally here, by redirecting to this file, Linux will actually create the file for you. Let's go ahead and with cat what's in that file. You'll see it says hello world. Let's go back to our homework. Task 3. Copy test.txt file to test 2 folder. So we're going to copy this file that's in test 1 to test 2. So cp is copy. Then we're going to type in the file we would like to copy. And since test 2 is contained in our home directory, I'm going to use a shortcut. So we're going to do that tilde or squiggly sign, and then test 2. And then it's going under test 2, so I add another slash. So now that file is underneath test 2 folder. Back to our homework. Look at task 4. Copy test.txt again, this time to test 3, and we're going to rename it as new.txt file. So we're going to do cp copy test.txt, and we're still in our test 1 folder, guys. We're going to use our home directory symbol, and it's going in test 3. And since I want to rename it, I'm actually going to put it's going to be named under this file, under this folder. which is new.txt. Okay. So now that'll be in test3, and it'll be named new.txt. And let me go ahead and cd over that directory for you, just so I can show you. And there you see it's in there. Okay. I'm going to go back to test1 directory. So I'm back in my test1 directory here. Actually, let me clear the screen, get a little bit of room back. So I'm back here in my test1 directory under my home directory. Let's go back to our homework here. So task 5, add below text to test.txt on test2 folder. Let's go back to our virtual box. So what we're actually going to do, we're going to do echo again. We're going to put, I am happy today, and I hope you all are happy today. We're going to redirect that output to test2, which is in our home directory, so I do a squiggle. Okay. And then test.txt. Okay. And if you guys are starting to notice, I don't actually have to cd over these directories. If I put the full path here, so the entire path of this file, so the home directory test2, and then the file in that directory, I can actually do it from anywhere. I don't need to be in the directory. So I'm going to hit enter, and now the file test.txt will have I am happy today in there. And just to prove to you guys that that is true, we're going to cd to that directory. I'm going to ls, show you there that that file does exist. I'm going to cat it, and I am happy today. Okay. All right. Let's head back to our homework here. Look at task 6. Copy folder test3, so not the file, but the folder, as test.doc folder to your home directory. So we're copying the whole folder, test3, and everything under it. We're going to rename it test.doc folder, and we're going to put it in our home directory. Okay, so I'm going to do a copy. And now when we want to copy things from a directory, we want to also take everything underneath of it. So what we've got to do is a -R, which stands for recursive, meaning take everything in the directory and everything underneath of it. I'm going to put the directory, which is located at home/test3, okay? And then I want to go to my home directory, and I want to place it in test.doc folder, okay? So what we're doing with this command, we're copying recursively everything under test3 here, and we're putting it in our home directory, and we're going to rename it test.doc folder, okay? So by giving it the name we want, it's going to rename that, okay? And just to prove that, I'm going to cd back to home. I'm going to do an ls, and we see that test.doc folder here now, okay? So right now, guys, I am in my home directory, just so we can keep track of where we're at. I'm going to go ahead and clear my screen and get a little bit of space back. And I'll do pwd, show you where we're at. We're at our home directory. Let's go back to our homework. So task 7 here, rename new.txt on test.doc folder to appletree2.txt. Okay, so let's go back to our machine here. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to go ahead and cd to test.doc folder. Oops. So I'm in my home directory, so all I have to do is test.doc folder. It knows I'm in the home directory, so I don't have to put the full thing. So now I'm in test.doc directory, or test.doc folder. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move. Actually, let's do an ls to see what's in here, which is the new.txt. Okay. So I'm moving because I want to rename it. And we're going to new.txt. And I want to rename it to appletree2.txt. Okay. I'll do an ls, and we'll see that it is now called appletree2.txt. All right, back to our homework here. Look at our next task, which is task 8. And it just says add some more text to appletree2.txt file. So let's go back to our machine here. So if you remember, this is actually a copy of some previous files. So let's go ahead and cat what's in there now. And we have hello world. Now we want to add more text to it. We don't want to replace the text, okay? So we're going to do echo. We're going to say Linux is fun. Okay? And we're going to append, which is going to be 2 greater than signs, okay? So we want to add this text to the end of it. And now we'll cat what's in that file. And you see it added that text to the end of that file. So it didn't replace it, it added to it, okay? I'm going to clear my screen real quick just to get some more space back. Do a PWD, show you guys where I'm at. So we're in home, Kevin, test doc folder. Let's go back to our homework here. So task 9, list all files in test 1 and test 3. That's a pretty easy one. So we're going to go all the way back to home. We're just going to do ls, test 1. So remember, ls stands for list, and test 1, what we want to list. So we just have test.txt there, and then I'm going to hit the up arrow. I'm just going to change that to 2. And we have test.txt there, okay? And then our final task on this homework. Oops. Probably helps if I show you guys the screen. There we go. I'll show you those commands just again. So we do ls test.1, which will list the text. I'm going to hit my up arrow. 2. Test.2. And it'll list those files in there. Okay. Now let's go back to our homework. So our final task here is locate file test.txt in all 4 folders. This is a bit of a trick question, guys, because if you recall, a couple of those folders we renamed the test.txt folder, or file, file. So I'm going to go back to my virtual box here. I'm going to show you how you would search for those files. So we do an ls because you want to list what's in those 4 folders. The first one being test 1. I'm going to pipe that to grep. You guys remember that grep statement? We can search for specific words or phrases or text in folders and in different locations. And I'm just going to say test. I want to see everything that has the name test. And you'll see it says test.txt. I'm going to hit up arrow. I'm going to do the same thing for test 2. Test.txt. I'm going to hit up arrow. I'm going to do the same thing to 3. And you'll see there's nothing. Why? Because we renamed the folder in that, or we renamed the file in that folder. I'm going to do the same thing for test doc. Oops. You'll see also nothing exists because we renamed that one to Apple Tree. Alright guys, so hopefully you did pretty well for yourselves on this file, or on this homework assignment. If you have any questions, feel free to follow those links you've seen before to get some extra tutoring and help with any questions you may have. Hey guys, welcome to Homework 2 for Introduction to Linux OS. So again, what I'd like for you to do on this homework session is to try and go through this as much as you can without any help from me. So I want you to pause the video now, do as much as you can on your own. Once you feel you're stuck or you can't go on, go ahead and unpause the video and we'll go through this together as slowly and detailed as possible. Okay, hopefully you've done as much as you can on your own. Maybe you even did the whole thing, which would be awesome, and I hope you were able to do it all on your own. You don't even need me. But just in case you do, let's go ahead and go over this together. So first task is going to be create a text file called info.txt. So let's go to our virtual box here. Let me go ahead and log in. Go ahead and clear the screen here. Let's do an ls to show you that that file does not exist. So I'm going to do a touch, T-O-U-C-H space, and this will create an empty file for me. We're going to call it info.txt. So it's going to create an empty file for me in my current directory. We'll do an ls so you can see that file there. So I got that file here. So that's our first task. So our first task was create a text file called info.txt. Check, we got that done. Now we want to check its access with command ls. Okay, so we want to see some permissions for that file. Let's go and go back to our virtual box here. So simplest way to do that.
Thanks for watching. Feel free to add your questions as comments down below.
Would be to do a long listing, which would be ls-l info.txt. And there we go. We see its permissions for that file. So task 2 done for our homework. So task 3, make this text file executable by others. So to accomplish this, we're going to have to do chmod, so change modification. We want to make this text file executable by others. What we're going to do is we're going to do O plus executable on the file info.txt. So add executable permissions to other on file info.txt. We'll run those permissions again, and now we see on other, we added some executable permissions on them, whereas before they did not have it. Okay. Back to our homework. Task 4, make this text file executable by user. So we're going to do something very similar, except this time we're actually going to hit up arrow since it's mostly the same info. We're going to do U. So chmod, user plus executable on info.txt. Do a long listing again. And now we'll see the user has executable rights there. Okay. Task 5. Make this text file writable by others. So now we're doing writable. Okay. We're going to do it for others. Let me go ahead and clear my screen real quick. Get a little bit of space back. So now we're going to do chmod. We're going to do others. So I hit the up arrow just to go back to my previous command. I don't want to type all that out again. So others plus writable. O plus W on info.txt. We'll do a long listing. Now we see others here has writable for it. RWX, writable. So that W means writable. They have writable permissions now. Let's go back to our homework. Let's check out task 6 here. So make this text file executable only for all. So we want all users, group, and others to only have executable permissions. Now hint, what we really need to do is reset everything. So how we're going to accomplish this, so what we're going to do is we're going to do chmod all, because we're doing this for both, or for all user, group, and other. We're going to set it equal to executable, and we're doing that on info.txt. Let's do a long listing of that. And then we'll see here that user, group, and other is executable only. Let's go back to our homework here. Let's check out task 7. Change this text file from user executable to user only read and write. So we want to change it from executable to read and write. So chmod, we're changing the user to, so we're going to add, or we're going to equal, because we want it to equal user executable to user only read and write. So we want to change it from executable to read RW write. And we're going to do that on info.txt. Do a long listing. And now we'll see the user has read and write and no executable anymore. Back to our homework. Task 8, change this text file from group executable to group only read and write. So take away executable and make it only read and write. So we're going to use a similar command for that. Except we're going to be doing group equals, taking away executable, we're making it read and write. We'll do a long listing, ls-l on info.txt. Now we see group also has the same permissions, read and write, but not executable. Let's head back to our task here. Check out task 9. Change this text file from other executable to only read. So we're going to take executable away from other, and we're going to make it read. Okay? So again, we're going to use that equal sign, chmod space other. We're taking away executable. We want to only equal read. So all we're going to do, other equals read. We'll do a long listing. And we see other just has read privileges. Okay. Back to our homework here. We'll check out task 10 here. So what we want you to do is we want you to repeat steps 7, 8, and 9. So we're going to be using the numerical access value. So we're doing everything we just did in 7, 8, 9, but we're only going to be using the numerical values. So let's head over to our virtual box here. I'm going to clear my screen real quick. What we're going to do, so tasks, what was it? Task 7, yeah, task 7 here. Change this text file from user executable to user only read and write. That's what we're going to do for that. We're going to use chmod. We're going to use the numerical value. If you guys remember, we have read, write, and execute. Read equals 4. Write equals 2. And executable equals 1. Okay. So task 7 was change this text file from user executable to user only read and write. So we want to give the user read and write. So read is 4 and write is 2. So that's going to equal 6. So we're going to use 6 and then no one else should have anything else. We're going to do that on info.txt. Do a long listing there. And we see user just has read and write. Okay. Task 8. Change this text file from group executable to group only read and write. Okay. So we actually wiped out group executable on that last command. So we're just going to give group only read and write. So read is 4 and write is 2. So 4 plus 2 is going to equal 6. So we're actually going to run pretty much the same command. So we're going to swap out the place the 6 is in. User would be 0, group would be 6, and other would be 0. So do long listing, and now we see that group is read write. Okay. Task 9 here. Change this text file from other executable to only read. There is no executable, so we're going to do just read. We're just going to give other read. So we're going to use a similar command. Guys, if you want to preserve the read and write on group, we can just leave that 6 there. And since we want to give other executable here, remember read is 4, write is 2, and executable is 1, we're just going to do 1. Okay, we're going to hit enter. We're going to do a long listing. And now you see we preserved the permissions of group on the last one because we kept it at 6. And we just gave it a 1 for other. That gave it executable here. Okay, let's head back to our homework. Let's check out task 11 here. Scroll down the page a bit. Task 11, try to repeat steps 3 through 6 using numerical value. So we're going to scroll back up. We're going to check out 3 through 6 here. We're going to use numerical versions to do that as opposed to using the worded versions. Okay, so actually let's go back to our homework here. Task 3, make this text file executable by others. Oh, one more important thing to look at our homework here too. Or sorry, yeah, we're going to be doing numerical values. So we're just doing executable by others. So executable is just 1, right? Read is 4, write is 2, executable is 1. So we're going to use chmod 0 for user, 0 for group, and 1 for executable by others. And we're doing that on info.txt. Do a long listing, and you see there others has executable. Back to our homework. Task 4 in numerical version, make this text file executable by user. So we're going to do pretty much the same thing. So I'm just going to hit up arrow, find that other one. Make this text file executable by user, so I'm going to get rid of other executable and give user executable. Do a long listing. You see there, user as executable. Now you notice there is one extra little space at the front here. Remember, guys, from our permissions lesson, that's just showing us what type of file this is. If this were a directory, we'd have a D there. Okay, so that's reserved for the type of file there. So we see the first 3 slots here are for user. Okay. All right, let's go back to our homework. Check out task. Oops. Task 5. Make this text file writable by others. We're going to do writable by others. So chmod. Users, no permissions. Others, we're going to make writable. So read is 4. Writable is 2. Okay. Executable is 1. And then for others, we're not giving them any permissions. We're doing that on info.txt. We'll do a long listing. And now we see group. Oh, I'm sorry. I was supposed to do that on others. My apologies. I put that in the wrong spot. So group is 0. Others is writable. There we go. Scroll up a little bit so you can see that there. So now I'm going to do a long listing. And we see others has writable permissions. Okay. We'll go ahead and clear my screen. Get some space back. Go back to our homework. So that was task 10. We did steps 7, 8, 9 using numerical values. We also did task 11 where we did steps 3 through 6 with numerical values. So we did these steps with numerical values. So let's check out our final task here, which is we're going to create another file called sun.txt in the same folder. And we're going to try to change the permissions of both files at the same time, meaning the sun.txt and the info.txt. And we're going to change it to read, write, execute for user, group, and other. A hint for this is to use this special character, this meta character, star or splat, with the .file extension. So let's head to our VirtualBox. Okay, so we're going to do chmod. We want read, write, and execute. So read is 4, write 2, execute 1. 4 plus 2 plus 1, that's 7. We want to do it for user, group, and other. We want to do it on all files. I guess I need to make file first, huh? First we need to make that file. And that file is going to be sun.txt. Okay, and then I'll do an ls, and you'll see I have sun.txt and info.txt. Okay, now we're going to give them permissions. So we'll say chmod, read, write, execute for user, group, and other. So 7, user, 7 for group, 7 for other. I'm going to say do that on all files that end in .txt. Okay, boop. And I'm going to do it ls-l on everything in this directory. Okay, and then you'll see here we have info.txt, which is going to be this line here, and we got read, write, and execute for user, group, and other. And I also have sun.txt here. And we have read, write, and execute for user, group, and other. Okay. So remember, guys, this special character, when we place it in front of text, it's saying do it on everything that ends in this text behind it. So everything that matches behind this. Okay. All right, guys, so that's the end of homework 2. We do have one more homework assignment, homework 3. I hope you guys were able to successfully complete some of this on your own. Again, if you have any questions, check out some of those other PowerPoint slides. Go back in the lessons, brush up on some of these things, maybe something you missed. You need to beef up on a little bit more of the things that you learned, or follow some of those links to get some of the private tutoring sessions that we discussed at the end of every PowerPoint slide. Thanks so much, guys. I'll see you in the next assignment, homework assignment 3 for Introduction to Linux OS. Hey guys, welcome to homework number 3 for Intro to Linux OS. What I want you to do right now is to go ahead and pause this video, read through this document. There are 13 tasks in total. I want you to go through as much as you can on your own. When you get stuck, go ahead and move on and try and do the next one. Okay? Some of these are dependent on the others, so you may have to stop and come back to the video. But I want you to do as much as you can without my help, and then go ahead and unpause the video, and we're going to go through it together. Okay? Alright, guys. Hopefully you were able to do as much as you can without my help. If not, no big deal. We're going to go ahead and go through this together slowly. I'm going to give you all.
If you have enjoyed watching this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.
The answers and show you how to do it, okay? So first one here is simple enough. Open the terminal and go to the document directory, all right? So let's go ahead and go to our virtual box here. I'll clear my screen. Okay, so I'm going to do an ls. You see that documents directory, so we know that's kind of at our first one here. So I'm going to do a cd for change directory, documents, capital D, Linux is case sensitive. Okay, so now we're in the directory we need to be in, alright? So that's the first test. Easy enough, not too difficult. Let's check out the second one. Create a text file called test1.txt with nano command in document folder and add below text in it. I am happy, I am learning very well. Linux is great, and we do have spaces in between those, okay? So let's go to our VirtualBox. So nano, if you guys remember, is a text editor. We're going to do nano, N-A-N-O space, test1.txt. So we need to give it and tell it what file we're going to be using, okay? We're just going to hit enter, all right? And because this file doesn't already exist, remember with vim, vi, and nano, it's going to go ahead and create that file for us and let it start editing it, okay? Nano is a modeless editor, so we don't have to type I for insert or press escape to go back to command mode or anything like that. Okay, so let's do I am happy. It's just going to go ahead and let me start typing. We're going to enter and another enter, so there's a space between them. I am learning very well. And I hope you guys are. We're going to do double space again. Linux is great. Period, period, period. Okay. Now guys, I'm going to move my screen up here a little bit because what I want you to see at the bottom of nano, what you should see, is that it actually kind of tells us what things we can do inside of nano and how to do it, okay? So to save our file in nano, or save our text here in nano, we see write out. You see that there? Right here, write out. So that's a O, okay? And that's actually a capital O. So what we're going to do, we're going to hit Control on our keyboard. O, it's going to say, what do you want to write this file as? What name? Test1 is what we want, so we'll hit enter. Okay, so now you see it wrote 5 lines, that's saved, and to exit out of this, we'll do Control X, okay? If you guys don't do that O, or save, and we press X and it exits, there's not going to be anything in that file, okay? So now we'll do a cat on test1, and we'll see, okay, those lines are in there, perfect. Let's move on to our next step, which is use head command to output the first line of test1.txt file. Alright guys, so if you guys remember the head command, by default, it's going to list the first 5 lines. Head, test1.txt. And it just so happens there are 5 lines total in that file, right? We have the first line here. We have a second empty line, third line, a fourth empty line, and a fifth line, okay? So we have to actually specify, we want to list only that first line. So we do that by doing the flag -n. That tells the head command, we're going to specify number, okay? And the number in this case can be 1, the first line, right? And we want to give it the file to run the command on, which is test1. And there you go, it gives us the first line, okay? I'm going to actually clear my screen, get a little bit of space back. We're going to go back to our homework here. And we're going to look at task number 4, which is use echo command to add below text to the end of test1.txt. So we want to add it to the end of it or append it to the end of it, okay? So if you guys remember, so we want to echo today is sunny. We're going to put that at the end of, oops, sorry, test1.txt, okay? So we want to do a double redirection. We're going to put that at the end of test1.txt, okay? Now guys, if I only put one of these, it would wipe out everything in that file and only put today is sunny. So that's why it's important to use 2 of these, because it's going to put it at the end of that file. And we'll prove that right here. And we see it at the end of there, okay? Notice it didn't create a space in between the 2 because it just took it as is. It slapped it at the end of that file as is, okay? Let's go back to our homework. Let's look at the next task on here. number 5, create test2.txt and test3.txt at the same time with the touch command. Simple enough. So we'll do touch, which creates empty files. We'll do test2.txt. And the test command will let you supply as many file names as you would like, okay? So I'm just going to do test3.txt on the same line. So now it's going to create both those files. We'll do an ls, and sure enough, we have test2 and test3, but they are empty. Okay? Let's move on to our next task here. It can be task 6. Oops. So it's saying, oops, one second guys, here we go. Alright, it's saying, use echo to add below text to the test2.txt file. Now what you want to notice is the difference between the echo command in number 4 and this one, okay? And in number 4, we use today is sunny, okay? And we threw it at the end of that. Right now, test 2 has no text in it, right? Okay. So I could do an echo red hat is great. And I could do a double and put it in that file, but there's nothing in that file, right? So I can actually do a single one, and I'm not wiping anything out because the file's empty, all right? So we're going to do a test2.txt, and you'll see when I cat that file, red hat is great, it's in there, right? Nothing to wipe out. So we're going to run that echo command again, except this time we're going to do it with the sun is nice, and this time we are going to append add to, so a double redirection. We're going to put sun is nice. And guys, remember here, you're going to save yourself some time. If you press up on your arrow pad, it'll go to your previously listed commands, and I don't have to change anything now. I can just do sun is nice in that echo part. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to put the third echo in there, which was I am learning. Okay. Now we'll cat that file. There you go. Red hat is great, sun is nice, I am learning. Okay. Let's go back to our homework, check out the next part. So we're looking at number 7 here, okay? Which says, use nano command again to add below text to test3.txt. Okay. So we'll go to our virtual box. So we're going to do the nano command again, except this time we're going to do it on test3.txt. We'll hit enter. Remember, I could just start typing, so hi, comma, I am writing Linux commands. Now I want to save that. You guys remember how to save? If not, it tells you here, right? Write out O. Okay. So Control O. It says, what do you want to name the file as? Test3 is fine, so we'll hit enter. It says it wrote one line. Perfect. So now I'm going to Control X to exit. Okay. I'm going to clear my screen. I'm going to do a cat of test3 just to prove to you that that's what's in there. Hi, I am writing Linux commands. Perfect. So now test3 contains that text. Let's look at our next task on our homework, which is number 8. And it's a little tricky. It says use cat command to merge test2.txt and test3.txt. Okay. And then it wants us to save it as test4.txt. Alright, no problem. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to do a cat. Oops. Let me share my screen here so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay. So cat tst2.txt. I'm going to redirect that to test3.txt. Okay. I'm going to show you guys a new trick here. I'm going to do a semicolon, copy test3.txt to test4.txt. Okay. So let me explain everything from the very beginning here. So what did we do here? We did a cat test2.txt. So what this is doing is it's outputting everything in test2.txt. And then we took that output and redirected it here and appended it to test3.txt. So what did that do? It took the standard output of the cat command in test2.txt, which would normally just display everything in test2.txt out to the screen, and it redirected that standard output to the standard input of test3.txt. So it threw everything and redirected it into the end of the test3.txt file. Guys, what this semicolon does is this is just essentially a new line. This would be the same as if I just hit enter and type that command on the next line. But instead of having to type the command again, I just want to do it now. cp test3.txt, test4.txt. Okay? Guys, what this does not do, this does not redirect, and it does not pipe. Okay? This command everything after this is completely separate from this first part, okay? This is essentially just a new line, but without me having to actually type in a new line, all right? So let's prove that. Let's hit enter. Do an ls. We see test4 there. Let's cat test4. So you see, hi, I'm writing Linux commands. Red hat is great. Sun is nice. I am learning. So it combined everything in 2 and 3, and we just renamed, or we did a copy of 3 to 4, okay? We did it all in one line, which is nice. Let's go to the next part of our homework. So number 9, use tar command to zip test 1, 2, and 3 files and name it as sun. Okay. No problem. Okay, so how do we do that? So we use the tar command. C for create, V for verbose, show us what it's doing, and F to name the file. And in this case, we wanted to name the file sun. So the first part of this is the file that you're going to name. So sun.tar. So we're going to put .tar so when people see this file, they know it's a tar file. And we want to tell it what files it's going to tar. Just like the touch command, we can supply as many file names we want here. So we're going to do test1, test2. Oops, I need to put the full name, otherwise it's not going to know what we're talking about. Test2.txt. and test3.txt. Perfect. So we're going to hit enter. It tells us, okay, I tarred up these files, 1, 2, and 3. Perfect. That's what we wanted. Okay. So let's see what the next part of our homework is. And it showed us that because we put the verbose option, V. Okay. Next part of our homework says, okay, well now, oh, sorry, we forgot one part. It says open the zip file and view its files. So to do that, we're going to type in the tar command again. Tar. This time we're going to put T, which will list the contents. We'll do verbose file because we want to put the file name. We're going to put sun.tar. Okay. You see it shows permissions, who it's owned by, the group, and what the file name is. If I run that without the V command, you'll see I don't actually get as much info because it's not verbose. That's verbosely telling us. So it just tells us that now, okay, it's just the test 1, 2, and 3 file. Okay, cool. All right, now let's look at the next part of our homework, which is number 10. So it actually wants us to add test4 now to that tar file we actually just created without unzipping it. All right, no problem. We do tar command again. Now we do an R for recursive, okay? And we do a verbose and an F for file again, okay? And we're going to use the sun.tar file because that's the file we want to add it to. And we're going to say add that test4.txt file. Okay? There we go. It says, added it for you. Well, thank you. So I'm going to put T. I'm going to look at the contents of this sun.tar file again. Okay? You'll see there, okay, yep. Number 4 is in there now. Awesome. So let's go back to our homework. Getting close to the end here, guys. Number 11, use the word count command to output the total words in test1.txt. All right. So WC for word count command. Okay. Then we're going to supply it the file. Like what file are we running this command on? Which was test1.txt. I think it was test1. Let me Double check. It's test1, right? Yeah, test1.txt.
Thanks for watching. Please like and share this video.
Let's get to us. Okay, 61470. So words, lines, and characters. Perfect. So task number 12 here on our homework. Use tail command to output the last two lines in the test4.txt file. Okay. That's just like the head command we had to do earlier. So now we do tail -in to designate the number of lines we're doing. And remember, tail lists the last lines of the file. It wants us to list the last two, so we put 2. And it wants us to do that on test4.txt. Test4.txt. Boom. Sun is nice. I am learning. Okay? Perfect. Let's look at our final task here on our homework, which is use head and tail command together in a pipe on text1.txt to output only the below lines. I am learning very well. Okay, we're going to have to think about this a little bit, guys. So first, let me clear my screen, and then I'm going to cat that test1.txt file. So here's all of our lines in it. It wants this line only. I am learning very well. Well, let's count how many lines we have here. We have 1, 2, an empty line. It's empty, but it still counts as a line. 3, the line we want. 4, another empty line. 5, this line. And 6, today is sunny. Okay, so we just got to get that very last line. Okay. How do we do that? Well, we could do a head. We could specify the number of lines. We could say, all right, well, how about you give me the first 1, 2, 3 lines. Okay. And we'll say do that on test1.txt. Okay. We're going to pipe that into the tail command. Okay. So let's think about this. I have these 3 lines that are about to be outputted. I'm going to input that to the tail command, but I only want this line. So how do I get the last line on these 3 lines? Well, I could do a -n1, and that'll give me the very last line of these 3 lines, right? Let's see. Yep, sure enough. We could also do this opposite way. We could say tail and say, all right, well, actually, give me 1, 2, 3, 4. Give me the last 4 lines. -n4. Okay, so now I gotta give the file to do it on. Pipe there. All right, so now I have these 4 lines. It's outputting that to the screen. It's piping it into the head command. Okay, well now I need just the very first line of these 4 lines, right? Okay, so I could do a -n1. Same thing, right? So you just gotta think about what's outputting in the first part of this command. You got to pipe that into the second part of this command. You got to figure out how you can do that, all right? So piping is very handy for things like that, okay? So that's it, guys. There are no more parts to the homework. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you were able to do as much as you can on your own. And thanks for joining us, guys.